Nobody is born with an indestructible mind. You don't arrive in this world fearless, focused, or emotionally unshakable. Mental strength is not some magical trait handed to the lucky ones. It's a daily decision, a conscious practice, a quiet war waged within. You become mentally strong by choosing growth over comfort, responsibility over blame, and action over excuses. Every day you are building your mind, either reinforcing strength or feeding weakness. It happens in the smallest choices. Do you get up with purpose, or do you hit snooze and give in to comfort? Do you confront your fears, or do you run from them and call it self-care? Do you speak your truth even when your voice shakes, or do you stay silent to avoid judgment? These are the silent moments where your mental foundation is either being fortified or fractured. You don't just become strong by surviving hardships. Plenty of people suffer but never evolve. Mental strength is not about what happens to you. It's about what you decide to do with it. Pain can either harden your spirit or open your eyes. Setbacks can either break your belief or sharpen your purpose. It's not the storm that makes you powerful. It's how you learn to stand in the rain and still move forward. Mental strength comes from discipline. It's built through repetition, focus, and the willingness to do hard things when no one is watching. It's built in those quiet hours, when you push yourself to keep going even when it doesn't feel rewarding, when you read instead of scrolling, when you train your body even when you're tired, when you sit in silence and face your thoughts instead of numbing them with distractions. These habits may not give instant rewards, but they lay the bricks of an unshakable mind. Mentally strong people aren't immune to doubt, fear, or pain. They just don't let those things control them. They have trained themselves to pause, to breathe, to respond rather than react. They are not controlled by emotion. They feel it fully, but remain rooted in principle. They know when to speak and when to stay silent. They've made peace with being misunderstood because they no longer chase external approval. They're too focused on building themselves. This strength is forged in solitude, in silence, in choosing growth when no one's cheering you on. And it is tested when life gets heavy, when people walk away, when failure shows up, when nothing makes sense. That's when it shows. That's when the world sees what you've been quietly building inside. You don't need to be the loudest, the strongest, or the smartest to become mentally strong. You just need to show up consistently. You need to train your mind like it's your most valuable asset, because it is. You are not stuck with the mindset you inherited. You are not a victim of your past. Mental strength is built, not born. And starting today, you have the power to build it. One thought, one choice, one day at a time. There is no faster way to drain your energy and lose your clarity than to focus on other people. The more attention you give to what everyone else is doing, the less power you have to build your own life. Comparison, jealousy, envy, and the endless craving for validation. These are not just distractions, they are mental poisons. They pull you away from your path, your peace, and your progress. They keep you mentally weak, emotionally unstable, and spiritually disconnected. When your mind is constantly checking who's ahead, who's winning, who's being praised, or who's living better, you're feeding a habit of powerlessness. You're handing your worth over to the outside world. You start measuring your value by someone else's achievements, their relationships, their appearance, their success. But the truth is, you were never meant to run their race. You were never designed to be a copy. Your strength is found in your authenticity, not in your ability to keep up with someone else's highlight reel. The more you focus on others, the more chaotic your inner world becomes. Anxiety rises. Peace disappears, insecurity takes over, because your eyes are facing outward when they should be facing inward. You stop asking, what do I want to build, and instead ask, what do they have that I don't? You start chasing shadows instead of chasing purpose. You lose your direction, trying to live up to someone else's standards that were never meant for you. And let's talk about validation, this constant hunger for approval, for likes, compliments, and applause. When your self-worth is built on what others think, you become easy to manipulate and quick to break. You adjust who you are just to be accepted. You silence your voice to fit in. You shrink your power to be liked. That's not strength. That's surrender. Mental strength comes when you detach from that need. When you stop watching everyone and start working on yourself. When you stop chasing attention and start building attention-worthy value. You gain power the moment you realize you don't need permission to be great. You don't need applause to move forward. You don't need anyone to understand your vision except you. You don't have to hate others to stop comparing. You just have to love yourself enough to walk your own path. Celebrate others without questioning your worth. Applaud their wins without seeing them as your loss. Because true focus is internal. It's rooted in self-awareness, self-discipline, and self-mastery. That's where real growth begins. Focusing on others may feel harmless, even motivating at times, but make no mistake, it's a trap. It takes your energy away from what you can control and wastes it on what you can't. Shift the focus, pull it back inward, put your time into healing, building, learning, growing. That's how you become unshakable. That's how you become mentally strong. Not by watching others, but by working on you. Silence is not emptiness. It's not weakness. It's not a void to be feared or filled. Silence is power. It's where truth lives. It's where growth begins. In a world that constantly demands noise, speed, and stimulation, choosing silence is a radical act of strength. Most people run from it, drown it out with distractions, or mistake it for loneliness. But silence isn't your enemy, it's your mirror. And when you have the courage to sit in it, you start to hear the voice that matters most, your own. When you step back from the chaos, when you disconnect from the noise of opinions, pressure, and expectations, you start to reconnect with something deeper. You begin to feel the weight of thoughts you've ignored, emotions you've buried, and truths you've been too afraid to confront. And in that stillness, clarity begins to rise. It's uncomfortable at first. You'll want to reach for your phone, for music, for anything to fill the quiet. But if you can stay with it just a little longer, you'll discover that silence doesn't hurt, it heals. Growth often doesn't happen in the spotlight. It happens behind closed doors. In the quiet hours when no one is watching. In the solitude that forces you to face yourself. That's where you break old patterns, question limiting beliefs, and process the pain you've been carrying. Silence strips away the masks you wear for the world and leaves you with nothing but what's real. It doesn't flatter you, but it frees you, and that freedom is the foundation of mental strength. When you spend time in silence, you learn how to regulate your emotions, not just react to them. You develop the discipline to observe your thoughts without being controlled by them. You start to understand what triggers you, what inspires you, what limits you. You begin to take back control of your inner world, and when you control the inner, the outer can no longer shake you so easily. Silence teaches patience, it teaches discipline, it teaches presence. It's where you reset your nervous system, sharpen your intuition, and renew your mental clarity. It's where you remember that not everything requires a response, that not every battle is worth fighting, that your peace is more valuable than your pride. Some of your greatest breakthroughs will come when you stop talking, stop seeking, stop chasing, and start listening. Listening to your body, your intuition, your conscience. Listening to what life is trying to teach you in the space between the noise. In silence, there is no need to prove, to impress, or to perform. There's just truth. And once you learn to be still with that truth, you become stronger than anyone who can sit with their own. The loudest people are often the most lost. The strongest ones, they don't need to shout. They just know, because they found power where others found nothing. They found it in silence. And that power, quiet, steady, and unshakable, becomes their edge. We've been conditioned to believe that putting ourselves first is selfish, that focusing on our growth, healing, and mental strength is somehow a betrayal to the people around us. But the truth is, self-focus is not selfish. It's necessary. It's how you become the best version of yourself, not just for your own benefit, but for everyone you touch. Because when you rise, you lift others. When you become stronger, calmer, wiser, and more disciplined, the energy you carry transforms everything around you. The world doesn't need more people who are drained, resentful, and constantly putting others before themselves while falling apart on the inside. The world needs people who are rooted, people who are clear in who they are, people who have taken the time to work on themselves so they can show up fully without needing to be rescued or validated. That kind of presence doesn't come from sacrificing yourself. It comes from investing in yourself. Self-focus means you stop chasing approval. You stop bending for every opinion. You stop living your life through the lens of what everyone else expects. And instead you begin to ask, what do I want? What do I need to heal? Who am I becoming? That clarity creates strength, and that strength isn't ego, it's alignment. When you are in alignment with who you truly are, you naturally become a more grounded parent, a more present partner, a more powerful leader, 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 a more powerful leader. The people who truly love you will never ask you to abandon yourself to please them. They will respect your boundaries. They will honor your growth. And the ones who don't, they were only comfortable with the version of you who needed saving. When you focus on yourself, you may lose people, but you'll find peace. And peace is worth more than approval ever will be. When you take time to heal, you stop bleeding on people who didn't cut you. When you choose discipline, you stop projecting your chaos onto others. When you learn to regulate your emotions, you no longer make others responsible for your inner world. That's not selfish. That's maturity. That's leadership. That's what it means to be mentally strong. Focus is power, because where your focus goes, your energy flows. And when your energy is no longer scattered across other people's opinions, problems, or expectations, you begin to build something solid. You start becoming someone unshakable. You no longer react to everything, you respond with clarity. You no longer chase relationships, you attract what aligns. You no longer feel the need to prove yourself, because you already know who you are. Self-focus is how you sharpen your vision, reclaim your energy, and elevate your life. It doesn't make you cold, it makes you clear. And clarity is kindness to yourself and to everyone around you. Because the better you become, the better you make everything you're part of. Heal yourself, grow yourself, strengthen yourself. That's not selfish, that's your responsibility. Your mind is your greatest weapon or your greatest weakness. It's the battlefield where every decision, every reaction, and every belief is born. If you don't train it, it will turn against you. If you don't take control, it will control you. Like a warrior preparing for battle, you must prepare your mind daily. You must sharpen it, discipline it, and turn it into your armor. Because life is not gentle. Life will test your patience, your confidence, and your ability to stay calm in chaos. And when that happens, your mindset is the only thing that determines whether you break or rise. Most people let their minds run wild. They believe every fear, feed every doubt, and follow every negative thought without question. But a warrior doesn't allow weakness to take root. A warrior doesn't surrender to emotion, they master it. Training your mind means becoming aware of your thoughts, challenging the ones that disempower you, and replacing them with truth. Every time a thought enters your mind, ask yourself, does this serve me or sabotage me? You don't wait for motivation to show up. You create it through habit and repetition. A warrior mindset is built through consistency, reading, reflecting, meditating, moving your body, protecting your energy. It's built by showing up even when you don't feel like it. It's in the early mornings when you choose purpose over comfort. It's in the hard conversations where you choose truth over approval. It's in the moments of fear where you choose courage over retreat. That's training. That's discipline. You must learn to be intentional with what you feed your mind. What you watch, what you listen to, who you surround yourself with, all of it shapes your thoughts. And your thoughts shape your reality. If you're constantly feeding your mind fear, gossip, distractions, and doubt, you're weakening your own weapon. But when you feed it strength, knowledge, peace, and clarity, you turn it into a fortress. You build a mental shield that protects your peace, your focus, and your power. The warrior mindset is not about being aggressive. It's about being unshakable. It's about remaining calm under pressure. It's about walking into the storm and not flinching, because you know who you are and what you stand for. It's not about avoiding pain. It's about knowing you can handle it. That no matter what life throws at you, your mind won't collapse under fear or panic. Because you've trained for this, you've prepared. Training your mind is a lifelong discipline. It doesn't end when things get easy. In fact, the strongest minds are sharpened during the hard times. So treat your thoughts like weapons, refine them, guard them, use them wisely. Because if you don't lead your mind, it will lead you into fear, into doubt, into destruction. But if you train it like a warrior, it becomes your greatest ally, your inner strength, your invisible armor. And with that, there's no battle you can't face. Mental toughness doesn't come from comfort. It doesn't come from people cheering you on or telling you how great you are. It's not something you wake up with or receive as a gift. Mental toughness is earned. It's forged in the fire of discipline. It's built in the quiet, uncomfortable moments when no one is watching, when no one is clapping, when you push yourself, not because it feels good, but because it's necessary. Discipline is the foundation of every strong mind. It's the daily decision to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. It's waking up early when your body wants to sleep. It's choosing a workout over scrolling through your phone. It's saying no to distractions and yes to growth. It's not glamorous, it's not always inspiring, but it's where strength is built. Because every time you choose discipline over comfort, you train your mind to obey purpose over impulse. Mental toughness isn't about being hard. It's about being consistent. It's not about pretending you don't feel pain. It's about moving forward anyway. The strongest people aren't the ones who never break down. They're the ones who've mastered the ability to rise every single time they fall. They don't rely on motivation, they rely on habits. They don't let emotions decide their future, they use their mind to lead their feelings. That's discipline, that's power. Your mind becomes stronger every time you say no to what weakens you. It grows sharper every time you do the hard thing without reward. It becomes more focused every time you remove distractions, set boundaries, and hold yourself accountable, even when it's inconvenient. That's the work that no one sees, but everyone eventually feels. Because mental toughness creates results. It creates progress. It creates an energy that can't be faked or forced. And let's be clear, praise does not build resilience, comfort does not build character. In fact, the more you chase those things, the softer you become. The more you seek external approval, the weaker your inner foundation becomes. The strongest minds are built in solitude, in discipline, in repetition. They are built by people who've decided that their future is more important than their feelings, that their purpose is louder than their excuses. Mental toughness is the ability to stay calm in chaos, to stay focused under pressure, and to stay grounded when emotions try to pull you in every direction. That level of control doesn't come naturally, it's trained. It's earned through practice, through self-reflection, through making the right choices when no one else is around to applaud them. Discipline isn't punishment, it's freedom. The freedom to move through life with strength, with clarity, and with purpose. So if you want to be mentally tough, stop waiting for the perfect moment, stop waiting to feel ready, start building habits, start training your focus, start choosing growth, even when it's hard. Because in the end, it's not comfort that will carry you, it's not praise that will protect you, it's discipline. And that's where true mental toughness begins. Real strength is not loud. It's not shown through dominance, ego, or applause. It's built in silence, forged through discipline and protected by self-focus. The world will try to pull your attention in 1,000 directions, toward comparison, distraction, and external validation. But the strongest version of you will only rise when you pull that focus inward. When you stop watching others and start working on yourself, when you choose stillness over noise, when you train your mind like a warrior and stay rooted in discipline, you become unstoppable. You begin to think clearly, move with purpose, and act from power, not pressure. That's mental strength. That's what makes you unshakable in a world that constantly tries to break you. This journey isn't about becoming better than others. It's about becoming better than who you were yesterday. Self-focus is not selfish. It's your responsibility, and when you own that responsibility fully, you don't just change your life, you change the lives of everyone you touch. Stay focused, stay disciplined, and become the kind of strong no one sees coming.